Salute, Nick family. Welcome to Dope Soul Sports Talk, a member of the NBK Network. Happy to be back with you. We usually meet on Tuesdays, but because I was on vacation, we're meeting tonight, Thursday, 9 p.m. I had a few picks for you, me on top of the glacier, but I couldn't get them quite right. So I'll see next time if I'll be able to do that. We're going to talk Donovan Mitchell to Cleveland, of course. We're going to talk RJ Barrett and his little bag, as I call it. But first, I just wanted to get my few little points out on Donovan Mitchell to Cleveland before I welcome in resident panelists, Jarrell and the bowling chick. So, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed, and part of the reason, and I'm going with an eagle-eyed view first, right? Before I go with the bird's eye view and the compensation and how Cleveland had the better package at the end. Just with an eagle-eyed view, I'm disappointed because the Knicks always seem to come up short. I don't care what it is. Free agency, when we had the money, we couldn't close on LeBron. I get it. He wanted to go other places. I think it was Walsh showing up in a wheelchair didn't help. Then we had free agent money. I think a few years ago, instead of KD and Kyrie, we coming back with the Morris brother and Randall. And he had an opportunity to trade for a young, proven all-star who's yet to reach his prime, and another disappointment. And we'll get into whether or not it was the right decision to make, because I've heard those points, and those points are fair, or whether or not the Knicks overplayed their hand, didn't come with their best offer because they felt they were the only ones negotiating. We shall see. I mean, this is what I will say about the front office. To me, they appear to be risk averse. Like they don't want to take a lot of risk. I think that there's risk either way. I think signing Mitchell and, that risk of not having enough assets left to build around him, that's a fair point. That's a risk. But I have to say, that's not something I ever bought into. I never bought into the fact that the Knicks would not have enough assets left. They weren't asking for 4 unprotected, 3 protected RJ, Grimes, Rose, Cam. They weren't asking for everything. So whatever they would have asked for, 3 unprotected, you still got another unprotected. You got your 3 protected. You got Randall, RJ, if he wasn't in the trade, Cam, other players that you could have flipped at some point to put even Brunson down the line to put a team around Donovan Mitchell. So I was never in the camp that the Knicks would not have enough to build around him. But I get it. That's a risk they were taking. You give up your assets. Can you build around them? But there's a risk either way. Like the front office is actually taking a risk right now that another young, proven all-star is going to come along while they're still in office, right? They're taking a risk that the players that they have and the draft picks that they didn't want to give up are going to turn into something down the line. So it's a risk either way. I think the question is, did they take the right risk? We're not going to know that for a few years down the line. Anyway, let me bring in Jarrell, the bowling chick. Hello, you two. How are you?
Salute to the chat. I'm doing good.
We can't hear you, Jarrell.
I said salute everybody. Salute to the chat. Welcome back, Staf. Happy to be here.
Yeah. What's your initial thoughts on however you want to frame it, losing out on Donovan Mitchell or the Knicks keeping their assets, however you want to frame it? What's your thoughts on that? And shout out to the chat. For those that's welcoming me back, I appreciate you. And let's get into it.
Bonchi, you go ahead.
All right, cool. I'll go first. Initial thoughts. Wow, Cleveland? Are you serious? Oh, okay. In that order. The okay happened once I saw the compensation. But the wow was very much there because that was a shock. We heard Cleveland was a contender. I did not take them seriously. I feel like a Knicks fan said last week that Cleveland was in contention. I was like, nah. So I want to apologize to that Knicks fan because I was very much wrong there. So wow. That said, I think this opens up the Knicks to a youth movement. Some fans are on board with that. Some fans are not. Me, I'm here for it. Let's go. But now my other reaction would just be like, okay, Leon, you were cool with doing this. Clock is ticking. I want to see what the next moves are. But I'm not angry. I'm not angry, not at all. Disappointed is the only thing I might be. And, at the end of the day, we're Knicks fans. This happens. It does suck to always be the bridesmaid and never the bride. And that's what it really feels like. So I definitely feel anybody that says that, I'm with you. That's true. But I'm still on that hopium. Let's go Knicks. Let's go RJ. Let's go. Let's get some dubs.
Let me ask you a question though. Do you really think that this is a vote for the youth movement, or do you think that this was just they were willing to give up young players? We just couldn't get this deal done.
I think it's a mixture of both. I do think Danny pissed off Leon. I really think he did, and that's what ended up happening on Monday. And so we heard about the deadline that Leon gave him and said, hey. If you don't make this trade, we're going to extend RJ. Danny said, go ahead. We said, all right, cool. And then we extended RJ. And I think at that point, we started pivoting already. I don't think we expected Utah to not come back to us. I do think we still thought they would. But I think that the Knicks front office drew that line in the sand and made a secondary plan. I just can't believe that they didn't think this was a thing that would happen. So I think this is where we're going to pivot. We have to.
Yeah, we have to. There's some static in your mic, like worse than before.
I might pick the mic off then. No headphones. Let's go.
But we can see how it goes.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, we good.
Yeah,
I can hear you.
It sounds.
Let's do that.
It sounds better. Actually, Jarrell, and then I'll get to Josh.
Yeah, of course, when I got the notification, just like everybody else, I was super shocked. I was like Cleveland, just like the bowling chick said. Yeah, it didn't really make sense at first. But then, I'm the type of person that I was like, initially I was shocked and I was disappointed, but I wasn't upset. Like I wasn't angry. Like I've been on here multiple times saying that I want Spider here. And we should go get him at any cost. But, on the flip side, like I didn't want Leon to get, fleeced either. So a lot of people have been talking about that. Even though Cleveland gave up that much, they can afford to give up that much. They didn't give up anybody that was really of value to their team going forward. They kept all of their starters. Mm-hmm. So like if we would have gotten that trade off, like RJ probably would have went IQ, maybe somebody else, and still multiple picks. So, I'm disappointed, but I get it, and we're just gonna have to keep moving.
I mean, I don't get it. And part of it is if you just come down to everybody came into this trade at the same time, and Cleveland put their offer in, and New York put their offer in, and other teams put their offer in, and they picked the best one. That's cool. Mm-hmm. But like I said before, for a long period of time, the Knicks had near exclusive negotiating period. And in my opinion, that was their opportunity to put their best foot forward. Another thing I said earlier, and it wasn't here, it was somewhere else, is how you approach the process counts. Now, I don't think they're going to take the worst deal. But if it's close, and they felt like you weren't operating in good faith, that you was holding back, that you was feeling yourself and feeling like, well, who else has what we have? We just going to put this $2 in the middle of the table. and hey, they're gonna have to come to us at some point because nobody like it. I'm not sure what the process was, but you can turn a team off with something, with how you engage the process. I should put it that way, so that if an offer is close, I'm not dealing with them. This offer, maybe it's not as good. Maybe it is as good. I'm going to go there. In my opinion, and you guys can disagree, I feel like the Knicks overplayed their hand. I think they got a bit too comfortable. And okay, maybe at the end they rallied, because look, once Cleveland put their deal on the table, I'm sure Utah said, okay, now we like this deal. Now you want to come? All right, now we want RJ, Obi, IQ, 3 unprotected, Milwaukee's 2. You understand what I'm saying? Because you let it get to that point, in my opinion. But Josh, I'm interested in what you have to say about, and I'm not happy with this front office. We'll get into RJ Barrett, which I think was a good, like that was a triple. But they weren't brought in to hit singles. You know what I mean? They were brought in for the home run, and they, as of yet, have yet to deliver. But go ahead.
So first off, welcome back, Queen. I seen you on Alaska hunting bears and moose heads carrying them.
Looking like Amelia Earhart out there. I saw her with the chopper.
Yeah, she was getting it done out there. So welcome back, Queen. Always a pleasure. Bowling Chick Jarrell. Appreciate y'all for having me. So I'm not sure if y'all seen Woj's latest tweet from 20 minutes ago. That at the start in July, the Knicks put on the table RJ, Mitch, Obi, and 3 first-round picks, and Utah said no. That was Woj's latest tweet as of 20 minutes ago. So, Queen, even though I think you're correct and the principle of, okay, yeah, you can piss a team off, the way you're approaching with the whole thing, I don't think that was the case here. I think the Knicks legitimately tried to go out and get Donovan Mitchell. And as much as the fans want to talk about, these players are valuable and RJ's valuable and all of that, the Knicks didn't care about none of that. They didn't, because they were dangling RJ out there to be traded, a couple months ago, all the way up until last.
Surprised with that too.
But that's what I'm saying. As much as the fans value these players, the organization doesn't. And I know Leon Rose came out today and he put the tweet out and the whole Knicks PR thing. We value RJ Barrett. He's a 22-year-old player, cornerstone of our franchise. Negro, you wasn't saying that last week when you dangled him in the middle of the trade. And apparently as far back, all the way dating back to early July when this stuff started kicking off. So, but listen, here's the thing. When you look at what Cleveland gave up, I think Cleveland had the best offer ultimately at the end of the day, right? As much as the Knicks fans value RJ, IQ, and these young players, I think what it came down to is the picks, not just quantity, but the quality of them. Cleveland offered 3 unprotected first-round picks, 2 pick swaps. The Knicks offered 2 unprotected first-round picks. That third was supposed to be unprotected. They wanted to be top 5 protected. So they did the 2 pick swaps in there and they said 2 second-round picks. I think that's what it came down to. Cleveland had the best package at the end of the day. Not saying that the Knicks didn't try. I'm with you, Queen. I'm with you.
Because are you telling me that Cleveland had the best, that they had more assets than the Knicks, or no, Cleveland was willing to give up the better package than the Knicks was willing to give up?
But I think Cleveland was willing to give up the better package, but I don't think it's about quantity, Queen. I think it was the quality of the pick. And I think if you look at it now let's look at devil's advocate for a second. Mm-hmm. No, I don't think it had anything to do with the players, because marketing, his contract expires 3 years from now. So to me, it don't have anything to do with the players. To me, it was all about the draft picks. Utah controls Cleveland's draft picks up to 4 years after Mitchell's contract is over. 4 years they control those draft picks from Cleveland. So I mean, I can look at it from a Knicks angle and say, okay, yeah, the Knicks did put their best foot forward. I don't think these were 2 perfect trade partners. Even though the Knicks had the quantity of assets, I think the Knicks want to hold on to as most of those assets as they can, and Utah wanted the most assets. And I think based off of that alone, and the fact that the Knicks, wanted to put those protections on that 2029 pick, I think that was the difference in the whole thing. To me, the players ain't having nothing to do with it, because the Knicks were getting ready to get rid of Obi, Mitch, and RJ and everybody. IQ. Only person that they said was untradeable was Grimes, as it turns out. And I want to know why that is.
Yeah, I didn't understand it either. That was
but
weird.
To me, I think it was all about the draft picks. The players didn't matter. Knicks were getting ready to get rid of RJ. I'm sorry to tell all the people out there in the chat, but they were ready to let RJ go. So
okay. They did 20, what? They did 25, 27, and 29. The Knicks had those same picks.
They do.
The Knicks had those same picks. Yeah. And they would have had them after Donovan's
contract ended.
Contract would have expired. So I don't, I mean, to me, it comes down to the Knicks front office is just scared. They to me, they're very risk averse. They're too conservative. I don't even know what to say. I just feel like the Knicks had a 25, 27, a 20. Then the Knicks had those picks as well.
I think Leon Rose, like, I think he cares more about the picks than the players. So I think he's scared. No, I hear you, Queen. Listen, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just telling you.
I'm just a little hype. I'm
just telling you the mindset of Leon Rose. He doesn't want the Utah, any team for that matter, to control those draft picks. I think that's what it really came down to. Players, I don't think he's scared about trading players away. I think it's the draft picks, and that is, I think, the difference. And that's what I think he's scared about, the draft picks, not necessarily the players.
Right. I think this deal. Okay. I think this deal didn't get done because of the picks, not the players. Definitely.
Yeah, I agree. But what I'm saying is, why is he holding on to the picks? He's holding on to the picks to get a star down the line. Why is he holding on to the picks? Like, you hold on to
make more deals, right? I mean,
right. If you're holding on to the picks because you want to be able to make a deal down the line, well, this is the type of deal you would make.
Right, exactly.
You understand what I'm trying to say? Like,
so if you're scared now, what makes us think as fans you're not gonna be scared later?
True.
Now, if what he's saying is, in 27 and 29, what if Donovan doesn't come back? What if Donovan decides to move on and we're not a very good team and then we don't have any way to rebuild? That's why you get paid the big bucks. Sean Mark, I believe, did it with the New Jersey Nets. That's why you get paid the big bucks, to make something out of nothing.
Yeah.
So to me, I just feel like the Knicks are afraid, and they better have a hell of a plan B, because this team right here maybe gets in the play-in.
That's what I'm talking about, Queen. That's what I'm talking about.
Maybe gets in the play-in. And I know, well, let me ask this question, because I hear a lot of fans saying that they're happy. This means that the front office is leaning into the youth movement. Now, from what I've heard from Josh, and I agree, I don't think that was the case. Yeah. I think we just left with that. But they were willing to give up RJ Barrett. They was Obi, IQ. I don't get Grimes. They must see something in Grimes that, and I'm a Grimes fan, but I don't get it.
My only thought was that they wanted to hold on to Grimes because they were losing RJ. Like, they need another defender with Donovan and Brunson. That was my only thought with that. Otherwise, damn.
Yeah, but are you putting Grimes and RJ in the same starting lineup? I mean not Grimes and RJ, but Grimes and Mitchell. I
guess that's what they thought they were going to do. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, because I don't see Grimes as a 3.
He's not.
So Queen. So another thing about that final deal that the Knicks offered with RJ, IQ, and the picks, whatever they were, right? So the money has to match. The Knicks had to be within 125% of $30 million. $30 million, which was Donovan Mitchell's contract. Mm-hmm. Just RJ and IQ wouldn't be able to get it done. You're gonna need another $12 million or whatever. So I think that's where Grimes kind of came in at that point of it. But to me, if Cleveland was able to get rid of Markkanen, who had 3 years on his contract, you could have easily put Fournier in there, right? Fournier and RJ, and then the pick situation, and then try to play it at that, and then you could be able to keep Grimes at that point. But for some reason, the final package that the Knicks offered, they wanted to keep Fournier on the roster with Donovan Mitchell. To me, something is just not adding up. I don't know.
Yeah, that ain't make
where
sense.
Where the miss was in that.
But you know what? It sounds like they're thinking about, well, this is what our team would look like, and this is what our team would look like, and then we got to keep this play. You got to get the player first,
right?
Because after you get the player, how many times has it happened where you traded for a play and 2 years down the line, there's such a turnover on the roster, maybe only one or two other players are left from that team. It happens all the time.
Yep.
It happens all the time. Shout out to Greg, now this is not something I said. Stephanie, before you were saying that even with DM we would be a playing team. I never thought with Donovan Mitchell we would be a playing team.
No, I said that.
Oh, okay. Josh said that. I didn't think we would be a playing team with.
I think that gets us to 45 wins, which was, if you look at last season, that was playing. Brooklyn won 44 to 45 games. That's playing team.
Right. That's true, because even 7, I think when I'm thinking playing, I'm thinking 9-10.
Right.
Okay.
I'm thinking 9-10. Okay. So like say the Knicks moved up to 7 or 8 and played their way into the playoffs. Okay, that's fine. All of the people that's talking about being patient, how much more patient can Knicks fans be?
Yeah, we tired of losing, man.
How much more patient? I mean, I think part of it is that this fan base really believes in Obi, IQ, and Grimes becoming stars. That's the only reason why you could be like mad happy right now, because you really believe in these kids. And I think they're going to be nice rotation players. And I would be shocked if any one of them became a star outside of RJ. Slim chance, but still possible. But those other ones, yeah, those other ones, I don't get it. Go ahead, Josh. You was going to say something.
I think they're all starter capable, not stars. I think they're all starter capable,
right.
Meaning they can be role players. You can still be a role player and be a starter. Right. I think all of those guys have that potential. But star, no, I don't necessarily see that.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah. So let me just ask the question. I already said yes. Do you think the front office overplayed their hand? So I think, Josh, you were saying that you thought that they negotiated in good faith, that they put their best foot forward. Okay.
Yeah, they put their 3 best player assets on the table and 3 unprotected first round picks to start it off. And Utah said no. So I mean, when you do that, I mean, I think they put their best foot forward. I just think that they thought that they were the only team out there, and they overplayed their hand, like you said. With the thinking that they can be able to, negotiate from a position of strength. And I think that RJ thing is kind of what kind of did the whole thing down at the end of the day.
But if that deal that Woj said was actually true, you think they should have went over that?
Which deal? Because there's been a lot of reported deals. Which one you talking about?
Wasn't it RJ, Mitch, IQ, Obi? And 3 unprotected.
Yeah.
They can't trade Mitchell Robinson now.
This was before. This would have been a sign and trade type of situation.
Right.
The same way they did with Colin Sexton, it would have been a sign and trade kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And he said they turned that down, so they would have had to give them more than that.
But this is what I think, though. I think the landscape changed. I think at the beginning they were asking for everything because they was coming off the Rudy Gobert high.
Right.
I think once that market was reset after, Kevin Garnett or whatever, I think they came to their senses that whatever y'all was asking for in the beginning, you can forget it. That's not happening. Like we're gonna have to deal anew. We're gonna have to come up with new deals. So I guess what I want to know is what was the Knicks package after the market was reset, when they knew that they were no longer gonna get 7 picks and 4 players or whatever they were asking for in the beginning. Because if it was a difference between 2 unprotected and 3 unprotected, I have a problem. I just have a problem. If that was the difference. You look at that Cleveland deal, The Knicks couldn't match that. Well, let me no. They could match it, but this is the question: why do you think they may not have even gotten a chance? Right? They may not even gotten a chance to counter.
That's true.
But from what I read in Woj's article, we didn't. After Monday's deadline that Leon put in, that was it. They went to Cleveland, called them Tuesday morning and said, "This is what we're looking at doing," and then they moved forward from there. So I don't think we got another opportunity to counter. And I just 3 unprotected picks, 2 pick swaps. The kid that they just drafted, that's essentially 6 first round picks. Yeah, Abaji. And
but it's a pick swap though, so you're still gonna get a pick though.
No. She's talking about the players. So it's 3 unprotected. Yeah. It's 3 unprotected, the 2 pick swaps, and then as far as the players to make the salary work, right? Abaji, Lauri Markkanen, and Sexton with the sign and trade.
Right, but she said 6.
That's too much.
But she said 6 picks. That those 2 pick swaps are not. I mean, because you're gonna still pick.
Right. We do keep a pick, but when you look at it in total, that's just a lot. That's just where I'm at with it. I hear where you're coming from, but I don't know if we would have matched that.
I don't see that. To me, it's not a lot. Okay. 3 unrestricted, unprotected picks, 2 pick swaps. So you still get the pick. You just swapping. You're just swapping the picks. Mm. We didn't even have a first round pick this year to even include.
So Queen. So just a note for people who don't know. Cleveland, their 2023 first round pick, they couldn't include in the deal because their 2022 first round pick they gave away in the trade for Karis LeVert. So they couldn't move that 2023 pick. So it had to be either 24 or 25 to start and then follow on from there.
So that's the reason. Okay.
So that's the reason why the 2023 pick wasn't in there.
Right. So it was basically 4. Four
first round picks. 4 first round picks.
4 first round picks. Yeah.
And then
yeah.
And maybe I'm off on this. I feel like when you're the Knicks, at some point you have to cross the line. Like at some point you just have to get out of the doldrum. And sometimes you gotta overpay, or what people would consider overpaying, to get out of the doldrums and just take the team in another direction. I don't think this was a heavy overpay, in my opinion.
I don't know.
So you think we should pay the Knicks tax? You believe the Knicks tax should be paid no matter what? And for in a trade.
What do you mean by Knicks tax?
That's what I want to know. I keep hearing that term. I keep hearing that term all around Twitter and then the Knicks tax. What is that? I don't know what that is.
That we have to pay more than what other teams would have to do.
But that's any negotiation. I don't think that Ainge took the Cleveland deal just to screw the Knicks. He took the better deal that was on the table. I mean, any business deal, you're going to take the better deal. You're going to take the better offer that's on the table. I don't think it's a Knick tax. I think that's cliche that Knick fans put out there for disappointment.
Right. And we always talking about overpay. We don't want to overpay. You want to stay like this? A perennial lottery team, year after year after year, picking in the top 10, or trading the pick to get out of a bad deal that you made the year before? So, it's like we're okay being basic. That's how I feel. When it comes to Knicks fans. That we're okay being basic. Oh, don't give up too much. I'd rather stay mid than give up too much. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it.
I think it's because you don't believe in our young players. I think essentially it's the lack of belief there. And I think that some members of the fan base believe in them and some don't.
Yeah,
RJ,
that's the disconnect.
All of those young kids, and I get that. But
that's a very good point.
I stand on it. I just not all of those. That's just too much compensation for me. Even though, this year we may not make the play-in. That would suck. Okay.
And next year either. Like I don't see.
Well, you're saying that the trades that the picks that we have are like we won't be able to use them for another player, essentially.
But you can. But you're taking a chance that another all-star proven young player who is yet to reach his prime is going to become available while this front office is while you still have these assets. That's the risk that you're taking.
And that the Knicks would potentially either be or not be in position of strength as far as the number and the quality of the asset.
Right. Like, we're not going to give them up for Don. Like, who do you think is coming? Who do you think is going to come next? Are you going to be willing to give? Like, I don't get the sense that it was Donovan Mitchell. Like, we don't want to give it up for Donovan Mitchell. I got the sense of cold feet about what's going to happen down the line if this was to happen, if that was to happen, to try to protect themselves, on the back end. And all I'm saying is you have to take a risk. Now, I'm not saying you got to be reckless, but you have to take a risk. Look what Brooklyn did with Kevin Garnett, and I thought they would never get out of that. Look, when you see they brought in Sean Marks, a savvy front office.
Right. And turned it around.
Able to get out of it. You got to have faith in yourself and the people that you brought in, that in the worst case scenario, we can get out of this. That's go ahead.
I was about to say, I guess in terms of that, I guess you should ask yourself, what is overpaying? Or you just would have gave up anything? Like, what is overpaying to you then?
Put it this way. Had the Knicks gave up 4 unprotected picks, they would have still had 3 protected picks, one of them top 4 protected Milwaukee, so that pick is going to convey. They would have still had, out of all of these players, maybe 2 of them would have been gone. They would have still had RJ, Randall, Cam, Rose, Grimes, Quickly, Obi. They would have had some combination of those players left to continue to build the team. So I never bought into the idea that the Knicks wouldn't have nothing left to build around Donovan Mitchell. The Knicks have more than enough assets, in my opinion, to continue to build. So in that scenario, we wouldn't be able to trade those other 3 unprotected first-round picks in between the years.
Right,
you would have to either draft them or wait till they get drafted and then try to flip them on draft night.
Right.
So I guess that's the counter argument.
Yeah, I get that. But you would have still had the 3 protected picks.
Right, but heavily protected is not as good as, unprotected.
That's true. The Milwaukee pick is not heavily protected, though.
Right.
That's the 2025 pick.
That's 20. Yes, that is the 20.
I think so.
That's the 2020. But listen, like I said in the opening, it's a risk either way, right? There's a risk that you give up these assets and won't be able to build around Donovan Mitchell. But it's also a risk that you hold on to these draft picks and they become absolutely nothing. And you had an opportunity to land a star. So I think it's a risk, a risk either way. What do you think is the next step for the Knicks?
I guess I'll go first. Just my personal opinion. I think if we're gonna do this, if we're going to keep our youth, then we need to do a full-on youth movement. So whether that means trade Randall or trade Fournier, maybe not necessarily both, but I think at least one. Then we'll be able to actually know what our young players truly are. We'll be able to actually evaluate our players, which you really haven't been able to do, I would say, last year. I know, Josh, you have a counter argument to that, but
so do I, but I'm gonna let you finish.
Set me on fire. That's how I feel. That's what I would do. Or maybe stand pat for a couple more months and see how the team actually performs and go from there. But I would really want to see. I want to see Cam play. So, I want to see it. So I would honestly, if I had to make a trade, it would definitely be for Fournier. I would want Fournier off the team.
Wow.
That's my opinion.
I know I've been talking a lot.
She came off vacation.
I know, right? I'm about to say.
Oh yeah.
I'm about to say, Alaska ain't cool you down at all.
At all. Let me tell you something. The Knicks' opportunity to lean into the youth movement passed in the draft. They had an opportunity to draft that, 11th pick? That same trade they made for Doran, they had an opportunity to make it for themselves and let Mitchell Robinson go. They didn't have to sign Brunson. They could have gave IQ the point guard position if they was really trying to lean into the young players. I think the Knicks front office right now is a little stunned. If you ask me, they trying to regroup. You know, they are not. If they're going with the young players, that's because there's nothing else available.
You can tell they're trying to regroup too, because they put out that RJ release as soon as that trade happened of him signing the contract. Like, man, please, like, stop it. Why they do that? I hate when they do that, because they do that a lot. They always do some type of damage control media wise. They to calm the fans down because there's so many of us.
Right. Wow. Blair, I'm gonna bring it up anyway. The key is to okay. Go ahead, Josh, and then we'll get into this.
So, I agree with Bowling-Chick a little bit. In regards to Fournier, I think Fournier, there is a logjam at that position. If the Knicks are gonna play that and do that, go with it fully. Get rid of Evan Fournier. Put Grimes in the starting lineup, who the person that they kept out of the trades. Right, he obviously has to be valuable in some sense. So you put him in that starting lineup to replace Evan Fournier. And then, you have some more minutes for Quickly. Try to get rid of Rose's contract. I know he's expiring. Maybe he has some type of value somewhere. And then try to approach the season that way. But Bowling-Chick, to your point, they already got rid of Kemba. They already got rid of Taj. They got rid of Burks. They got rid of Noel. All those people are gone. Right. So the only, old person we're really talking about on the team that's really stopping minutes is going to be Fournier. So I agree with you in that aspect of it. And if you want to play the draft game, play the draft game. Play the draft game and just, hope you get lucky in that regard.
And the crazy part is we talk about these players like they're really old. They're not. Fournier isn't even old. He's just not a baby.
Right. Correct. Yeah, that's the other part.
Right.
That's the other part.
Listen. Remember, Cleveland was interested in him before. The sad thing that they got Donovan now. We can't trade him there.
So y'all trying to tell me that the Knicks are choosing to prioritize the young players, or this is their plan B because they couldn't get the trade done?
The plan B.
Gotta be plan
That's the plan B. That's the plan B.
So stop chat people. I appreciate you guys for watching with me. Let's stop with the Knicks are prioritizing the youth. They already said they prioritizing the youth. That's politics. That's
cap.
Right. That's cap. That because RJ Barrett was in trade talks.
Yep.
Come on.
Right.
Yep.
RJ Barrett was in trade, and it wasn't just one report. There were multiple reports that RJ Barrett was in trade talks. So can we please stop what they said they prioritizing the youth? There's what they're saying and what they were actually doing. What are you paying attention to?
And that's the Queen, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not trying to bring up this whole thing again, but Berman was the first one to put it out there, and everybody called him crazy. Berman's making it up. He's making it's fake news and all of that. Just because you don't agree with the report does not mean that the report ain't true or that there's no candle to that fire, no fire there. It's been out there for a long time. People just chose not to believe it because they didn't agree with it. RJ is the baby of the family, so to speak. But the Knicks front office was thinking a totally different way. They're not thinking the same way the fans are thinking, right? So this is not – don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at Berman. Don't kill the messenger. I'm just telling you what the Knicks have been doing. You can see it. You can see it. So don't get mad at me.
Right. And not just that. It sounds to me that the Knicks are prioritizing draft picks over the young players.
Yeah.
Like they were willing to give up Obi, IQ, even like that. I was like, what?
But not
but
the
they
picks.
want to hold on to the draft picks.
Right.
But they weren't prioritizing these young guys in this trade. They were willing to give them up.
Except for Grimes.
Except
for Grimes. Yeah, that's like the third time you mentioned that too. Like, you can't believe it.
Except for Grimes and Rose. Like, are you serious? That's what you went to the table with? we're not giving up Grimes and Rose.
Oh, let me I forgot before I forget the question. I never answered the question what I think they should do next. Maybe just go after somebody else. Maybe SGA is available. Call up OKC.
I don't like that fit.
Why?
Where's he gonna play?
The two.
Who's gonna be the shooter?
Well, I mean, that was the same thing with Donovan Mitchell. What's the difference?
Donovan Mitchell is a much better shooter than SGA. Much better.
I wouldn't categorize him as a shooter, though. I think they're just both scorers, though.
Well, I mean, listen, I had a problem with that fit plus Randall being there at the beginning. So I think if you are going to bring in SGA, Randall got to go. You know, period, point blank.
Yeah, that's regardless.
Regardless, right?
Right.
But for me, I mean, I would much rather have what's his name? Well, it's done now. Can't get Mitchell now, but I would rather have him than SGA.
Oh yeah, I would definitely. This is my plan B. This is just a plan B. That's all. I wanted Spider here, but since we can't get him, I just have to choose somebody else, or we're gonna have to wait. I'm just tired of waiting.
I would like somebody, and I don't know who this is, that can close. I just don't know if SGA is that guy yet. You know, if he's somebody that can close games. You know, I think he's somebody that we still trying to figure out who he's going to become, what his ceiling is, and we got a lot of those already.
That makes sense. I just think the package will be a lot cheaper too.
SGA is on a 5-year contract. I think it just kicked in this year.
So as far as compensation.
Yeah. I'm just talking about compensation though. What we got to do to get him, not the contract.
You mean as far as picks?
Yeah.
I think it'll probably be more.
You think it'll be more?
For SGA over Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying one player is better than the other one. I'm just talking about, I think the length of the contract matters and these deals as far as compensation. So, yeah, you got to make the money work. You got to make the money match. But also, because the contract is so long, you know, picks and compensation. So.
Yeah, he didn't shoot the three well at all. My goodness.
No, it's terrible.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's why yeah, you didn't hear me argue with Josh when he said that. I didn't argue with that. I don't disagree with that. No, no, he can't shoot.
I don't know if he's somebody you would build around. I think that's what the Knicks need. I think, you know, if hold your assets at this point, like hold your assets and just wait. But when you think about it, this was the guy the Knicks were waiting for.
Yeah.
Right. Bryant, something, you know, a lot of other things. This was Walt Perrin, right? This was the guy that the Knicks were, you know, were waiting for. And salute to Sam. No, I don't think SGA is available. Jarrell was just saying who we was just thinking about who would be the next target.
Right.
I don't see much changes happening before the start of the season. Do you?
Fournier and Randall, one of those two contracts.
Right.
One of them is gone, and like you mentioned, maybe Rose too.
I'm not so sure that Cam will be on this team start of the season.
Right.
Not at all. I'm not sure of that at all because his contract is coming up too.
Think that on his birthday? You think that on his birthday that he's going to be traded?
Man, I don't care whose birthday. Yeah, I don't care, but I don't know. Like, I really don't see a future for Cam, and maybe that report was true because I'm not so sure that he would see a future with this team either. Since RJ just signed his contract, like, where does that leave Cam? That's what we was talking about before. Now it's actually coming up, so yeah, like I can see why Cam wouldn't want to be here. It's nothing personal. Like, he doesn't have a spot on this team.
So why trade Randall? To open up space for Obi? Because I would think you would want to recoup his value and include him in a trade for somebody down the line that can really help the team. Like, in my opinion, I don't think Obi has played to the point where he's pushed Randall off the team.
Right.
I think it's more about the fit with him and RJ. I've been saying that since day one. I just don't like the fit between them, and now you got both of them locked up for at least the next 3 to 4 years. If Randall, takes his player option, which he will, so the next 4 years.
Yep, fit and accumulate more picks.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sam. Why is one of Randall or Fournier gone? At this point, they might as well see what this team is. Yeah, I mean, just just rock with it. The only thing I would say is at that one position, RJ position, and Randall position, whoever's playing behind them, they're not getting a lot of minutes. They're just not getting a lot of minutes. So I think that's, that's the issue there.
And it seemed like the two players that people want to see the most are behind the two players that play the most minutes on our team.
That's Cam
and Obi. They're going to be playing behind RJ and Randall. So yeah, they're not going to play that much.
Unless Cam beats out Fournier.
And Fournier don't get hurt. He's the most durable on the team.
Right. I don't see that happening either.
Right.
And Grimes is the blessed one.
Shout out to Ron. Cam is out of here. He's not worth the money for the Knicks to move forward with him. Yeah. I mean, unless he bought, I don't see Cam getting to training camp.
I said the season. You said training camp.
I don't see him getting to. I don't see him getting to training camp.
Go ahead.
I
was going to say, what about Fournier to the Lakers, perhaps?
Right, that's what I was thinking.
Fournier and Cam to the Lakers. Maybe
Fournier and Cam for what they giving up?
It's going to have to be them two first round picks on the back end, and then whatever contracts. I gotta take a look at their roster, but
would they do that without Westbrook being involved? I thought the whole incentive for them to send those send those picks out was to get rid of Westbrook.
Same thing.
Well, I mean, what if? I mean, let's talk. I mean, Westbrook still makes too much money. We would have to try to match that salary somehow.
Right.
So you give up a young player in that. So
you have to give up more than that.
Yeah.
I ain't doing that. That's crazy. No.
You need a 3-team deal then in that case.
Yeah, I'm out.
I think the Knicks need to stay pat. Like, don't start giving out your assets one at a time here and there for minor upgrades at this point.
Well, it's about trying to clear the logjam, and I think if you can get a couple first round picks out of it, yeah, okay, you get Westbrook's contract back, but it's expiring, so that's money that's coming off the books. Basically, you taking off Fournier's $18 million off the books early. So you got that, and then whatever other contract Rose maybe. I mean that makes the money work. So the Lakers can offload Westbrook's contract. It puts them in a better position.
Right, but what have the Knicks done with cap space?
Damn.
Yeah,
for me, it's not about. It's less about the expiring contract and more about opening up spots, the fit on the roster, putting Grimes in the starting lineup, accumulating some more assets. The draft. I mean, the cap space is an afterthought for me. That's just something else. But
right.
Okay. Well, I don't want to hear nothing else about acquiring assets. Because when the opportunity comes for you to pull the trigger, you become gun shy. So, yeah,
I'm weak.
Anybody,
she got a point.
We just hoarding,
right.
because whoever comes up next, is it going to be the same thing? You know what I mean? Like, so anyway, I forgot my I forgot my question. That
Told
quick.
you, man. Leon Rose got you hot, Steph.
She ready to go off.
Let me tell you something. You heard what happened to the Rangers front office last year after they made the playoffs.
Oh yeah, Dolan wasn't messing around.
Yeah, all of them was gone. Yeah.
Would you be surprised if you woke up and the front office was gone?
No, I would not be surprised.
Like tomorrow?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, I would be.
I wouldn't be.
No, I wouldn't be surprised.
Dolan fired the president of hockey operations, the coach,
right.
and the GM.
Happened with the Rangers.
Fired everybody.
Right after they made the playoffs, when they shouldn't have. Like they actually had a good year.
Young squad. Yeah, real young squad.
They didn't have no business making the playoffs. They didn't make the playoffs. They got really, really close or something.
Yeah.
That was
and they
last
shouldn't
year, right?
That was last year.
Before the nice run that they made.
Well, that's why, because they missed it, right?
But they shouldn't. They shouldn't even been close though. Like
they was on Detroit Pistons level of rebuilding type of.
Right. They had no business being that good, and they actually got them there, and he fired all of them.
To me,
how long were they? Oh, go ahead.
It's about results.
Around the same amount of time, like 2-3 years.
It's about
it was out of it.
Yeah, I mean, this is what you've been selling the owner on, right? This is our strategy. You know,
they fired the coach first. I just want to put that out there. They fired the coach first, then they fired the rest of them.
Right. I think I can see it happening at the end of this year. I just couldn't see it happening like tomorrow. I think they would want to see the result. He would want to see the results first, but I could be wrong.
We saw the results.
I'm about to say, what's the results?
I guess Brunson. I guess
add results. Well,
add in Brunson. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else on this before I talk about Barrett's contract?
I just wanted to say this.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Just a small quip that I thought of earlier. You know how Cleveland was, again, out of the whole deal last week, excuse me, and then re-entered at the last minute. It made me think of the Browns. I don't know if to all football fans. I mean, that's exactly what the Browns did, because the Saints and the Falcons basically were in serious talks for Deshaun Watson, and then we had heard it was going to be one or the other, and then like the next damn day, Deshaun went there because they gave him a guaranteed contract. To me, it was almost the same exact thing. That's what popped in my head earlier.
Right. There's still feedback, but your thing is off, right? Is it disconnected from you?
I hear something. I don't know what it is though.
Damn, y'all don't hear anything I said?
We heard it, but there's is it still connected to your computer though? No.
I just want to say to Big V CEO in the chat. He says Danny Ainge used the Knicks. The Knicks offered them OB, Mitch and RJ and 3 unprotected, and they still didn't take it. And that means that they used us, and that was the best trade that they could have took. To you, it was the best trade they could have took. Again, this is an example of Knicks fans overvaluing what we have. To the rest of the league, they don't look at the young players that we have in the same light that you do, right? And like Queen said earlier, I think the timeline changed. I think at that time, they felt like they can get more than 3 unprotected first-round picks, and that's the reason why they took it that way. And obviously, over the course of time, things changed, and Cleveland became a part of it, and that's the reason why they took the 3 unprotected first-round picks at the end of the day. So I don't agree that Danny Ainge used us and he never was going to trade into the Knicks. I think the Knicks had a legitimate chance to get him. It's just that they, overplayed their hand towards the end, like Queen mentioned. That's the reason why we didn't get it done.
Yeah. Oh, go into the audio. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think toward the end, maybe not in the beginning, toward the end, I think they may have overplayed their hand. But listen, this is what it is. I think at this point, stand pat. Like, don't give up any. I get you in terms of clearing out the log jam, but don't do any anything crazy. Don't give up 2 first-round picks for OG Anunoby now. You know what I mean? Like, don't go crazy.
Right. Don't overpay for somebody else just because you missed out on Spider. I get it.
Right. Which we did with Amari. So we shall see. Let's talk about Barrett's contract. I was very happy with that. I think he has a base salary, if I'm hearing it correctly. I don't know if his contract is totally out, but from what I'm hearing, the base salary of 107, which is
27.5.
Beautiful.
Right. But the first year, 23.4, 23.7, like that is amazing. On a 4-year contract, that's movable. And already we could see from the front office is if something comes up and they can include RJ, like there's nobody on this team untouchable.
Right.
But
That's
Grimes,
for sure.
it's like
Grimes and Rose.
Grimes and Rose. But $107 base salary, that $107 million. Yeah, that's amazing. Like I said, I don't see RJ as a superstar, but I see him as a very good NBA player. Maybe a third option, maybe even a second option. So for that type of money, yeah, and this is what the front office does. These singles and these doubles and these, really good moves, but at some point you got to hit it out the park. Anyway, any comments on Barrett's contract?
Yeah, I actually think they did hit this one out the park. It's just in a different way. They didn't get a splash with a superstar, but the amount of money that they paid RJ Barrett, I really thought it was going to be more than that. I didn't think he was going to get the max or anything, but to get him for 107, I did not think that was possible. I thought that it was going to be at least a little bit more than that. 107 is great because we actually talked about, him going in the open market and coming back with a contract. I think it would have been more than that if we would have had to match it.
Depending on how he would have did this season upcoming.
True. You're right.
I'm with you on it. I think it was a phenomenal contract. It's just a phenomenal contract. The opportunity to make up to 120 with those incentives that we talk about, the All NBA, the All Star, All Defensive potential, $30 million a season. If RJ Barrett can do that, if he becomes an All Star this season, he easily outplays $30 million.
Right.
Easily outplays the 23.5 that he will be making the following season or whatever it is. So to me, I think it's a win-win for the Knicks. Even if RJ plateaus, and let's say this is the RJ that we're going to get, God forbid, for the next few seasons, I think no, seriously, I'm being honest. Let's just for argument's sake, let's say even if he does become that's a tradable contract. You can move that. That's like in the realm of, and this is what the front office has been doing. These 4-year between $23 to $27 million contracts. Randall got the same thing. His is 4 years, 117, and that's with incentives, right? Brunson, 4 years, that amount of money. I think it's right on par with the Knicks front office has been doing. And Mitch, he got 4 years, $60 million. So I have no problem with the contract. I think it's a great contract. And if RJ reaches an ounce of that potential that we all hope he can get, he easily outplays that contract. And then, that's a really good contract to have on the roster. So I like it.
I like it a lot. I call it the little bag. He got the little bag.
Yeah, of course, I have to say, ditto what everybody else said. Y'all took all the good stuff out of it. Can't add much more. But I'm thrilled that RJ got that contract, and I think he's going to really be a steal at those numbers. And you guys are going to be surprised at what he does over the next 4 years.
I want to be surprised.
He's got something for you, Queen. He's got something for you. Watch my boy. It's RJ season now.
Yeah, listen, for me, I see RJ is 18 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, good defender, good leader, can go downhill, getting better, at shooting the 3-point. I see him as a very good, NBA, a very good NBA player. Any disappointment, Josh? I know no. For me, no. Any disappointment that RJ was included in the trade talks for Donovan Mitchell?
I'll go quick. No way. I was not disappointed. I'm pretty sure on the bowling chick, I'm not going to answer for her.
You weren't? Because I remember you saying you didn't want RJ in the Donovan Mitchell trade.
No, I said I didn't want him in there, but if it would have took that, then yeah, I would have slingshotted RJ out of here if it had to be him. But no, I would have rather paired him with Donovan Mitchell. I didn't want RJ to leave, but if that would have took it, then yeah, I don't think anybody would have been untouchable. Yeah, I don't believe in that.
Wow. Okay.
I was disappointed, but not mad, if that makes any sense. It depended on what the package would have looked like. So if it would have been RJ plus Grimes plus Obi, 3 unprotected, and then, I don't know, maybe 4 unprotected, and then I would have really been pissed off. But I still would have been, supported the team. But I would have been very upset at that time. It would have taken me a little while to get over that. But disappointed, yes, but not angry that he was included. I don't think he's untouchable. I never thought that.
Right. I mean, I think the one thing that it showed me, as much as the jury, in my opinion, is still out on the front office, they've done some really good things. It showed me that when it comes to upgrading this team, everything is on the table except a few unprotected draft picks and Grimes. Other than that, everything is on the table. And that part was good to hear, because we got to keep in mind they didn't draft RJ.
Right.
He was from the prior regime. They didn't draft him. The question I have is, if RJ plateaus at this price, you would be upset? Like, if he didn't get any better at 23, well, it's escalating over the years, so an average of 27, you would be upset. Like, I think if they gave him the max and he plateaued,
that's a different story. That's a different ball game.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll be heated just personally from RJ's perspective if he plateaus at 22, 23. Like, to me, I'll be mad just because that's weird. Like, with his work ethic, no way he should not get better at this age. Like, that wouldn't make sense to me. I'll be pissed too.
Only reason why I brought it up is just to say worst case scenario, and to prove that the reason why the contract is what it is. If he plateaus, that's a movable. You can move that. That's not going to be hard to move. Now, the reason why the max contract is important, because one could argue, well, it's only going to be $9 million more per season, $36 million a year. If it was a max contract, it would be a 5-year contract. Anything short of a max contract, it can't be 5 years. So I think that's where the max comes into play in this conversation. But for 4 years at that price, I think that's movable. Just like Fournier is movable. Randall, I think Randall is still movable. People are really down on him right now, but I think some team in the league, particularly a contender, can take a chance on Randall. Phoenix, hopefully. Right. And then you got Brunson and Mitch. So
yeah, shout out to JJ. Getting a role player with the 3rd overall pick isn't ideal.
Happens all the time. All the time.
It does happen all the time.
I mean, he was the 3rd pick because he was the 3rd best player in that particular draft. I mean, what are you gonna, what are you gonna do? What would need to happen for the Knicks to make the playoff, to play 7th seed?
That goes into our ceiling and floor conversation that we had before. Like, everything would pretty much have to break right for us. Like, all of our young players will have to be better than they were last year, and Tibbs will have to coach better. Everybody will have to do a better job for us to even sniff that, to me.
I'd say that we just have to do a better job closing. We close those 4th quarters, I think we make the play-in. So that means RJ has to be a better closer. Brunson has to be what we expect him to be in the 4th quarter, and we would need to be healthy. I think those are your 3 main components.
I think RJ needs to make an all-star team, and Mitchell Robinson needs to make all defense. If that happens, I think the Knicks are a 7th seed.
A 7th seed? Wow. With that. Right. No, I'm just
all-star and an all-team defender.
Where we are. But I wanted to say something to Jarrell. Sometimes, you could practice really hard and not become an all-NBA player, just because you're just not that type of player. You know what I mean? So if RJ was to plateau, or any player was to plateau, I don't know if it means they're not working on their game or they're not playing hard. It could just, practicing hard. It could just be that's the best you're going to get. You know, you look at these players who's been in the league for 10 years and they still can't shoot. It's hard for me to believe they wasn't trying to shoot. You know, that they weren't putting up shots.
That's true.
They just didn't have that, you know, they just didn't have touch. Yeah, let me tell you something. When we did ceiling and floor, this was Brooklyn was in shambles.
Yeah.
Right.
And Cleveland wasn't even as good as they are right now. I feel like the Knicks then moved
Yeah, they did move down.
too. You know what I mean? Brooklyn is solidified. You know, I mean, those guys are, you know, are professionals. So they're gonna come, you know, they're gonna come to play.
Right.
And Cleveland, everybody's saying that they overpaid. Who plays the 3 for them? I know they got Donovan
Okoro.
Okay.
Defense.
Right. They got Karis LeVert would probably be coming off the bench now.
He's on the Pacers.
Okay. They traded him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Shit, I forgot.
No, wait, hold on. Did I mess that up? I think I messed it up.
They got it from the
he used to be on the Pacers.
Used to be on the Pacers. He's on Cleveland. So he'll be coming off the bench now. And then you got Evan Mobley at 4 and Jared Allen at 5.
Defense. Scary.
That's the only reason why Mitchell fits so well there is they have 3 defensive players right next to him and Garland. It's a pretty good lineup.
Karis LeVert might be starting at the 3. Was he like 6'?
6'5", 6'6".
Oh,
I start Okoro though.
I would start Okoro and I would have LeVert come off the bench. Not because one is better than the other, but just because you got enough offense. You got enough offense with those 2 in the backcourt.
He doesn't need to score. He just needs to stick the best wing player on the team.
Brooklyn, Boston, Milwaukee, Philly, Miami, Cleveland, Chicago. I don't know if Atlanta is locked in, but
that's about the only one. Though.
That's 8. Wow.
That's 8. Wow.
I was counting like, no, he's
wrong. That's 8. Wow.
That's the first 6 for sure. You know, if RJ makes the All-Star team, if Mitch is all defensive team, maybe we can get 8.
And don't forget about Toronto.
Toronto is not even in there.
People, and this is what I was trying to tell people. The Knicks are going to be the worst. I mean, I don't want to say gonna because I'm just putting that bad energy out there. But right now, the Knicks are projected to be the worst team in the division. The last time all 5 teams from one division made the playoffs and all 5 of them were over 500 was 2014 or 15. And that's the only time it's happened in NBA history. So for all those people who think that, you know, and I'm not saying it can't happen, but I'm just telling you the history, the facts. It's only happened one time in NBA history. Now, two other times it's happened where all 5 teams have made it, but the last team in that division was under 500. And I just don't see that being the case right now in today's Eastern Conference.
At least we now have the play-in, so 9 and 10 are being factored in, so there is still a chance there. But I see your point.
Right.
That's 8 teams right there, and Toronto is not even on the list.
Right.
9. So then now it's 10 with the Knicks. There you go.
I mean, on Queen's Court, we're going to do roster comparisons. Oh my. Okay. All right. It's going to be and somebody said Charlotte. I mean,
not with Bridges.
Not Bridges.
Now,
if Bridges was there though, we'd have another problem.
Right. And Washington too. I mean, a lot of it depends on KP. You know, when has he ever been healthy though?
Right.
And then don't forget about the sleepers who may come out of nowhere, Detroit or Orlando's, you know, out of nowhere. And not saying, you know, Pacers now, not the Pacers. I think the Pacers rebuilding mode, they're tanking. But the Orlando's and the Detroits could really surprise a lot of people. You know.
Are we serious, Paris Duggar? Are we serious right now? Cleveland is they better than the Knicks. Their roster right now is better than, but you know what? This goes to just like the bowling chick said, it depends on how much you value the young players. Like if you see those young players as budding stars, then I can see why you're super excited with the 16 or 18 minutes they're going to get. But
if that,
you know, But I would trade the Knicks roster for Cleveland's roster right now.
You spicy as a mug today. My God.
Oh yeah, she's not messing around. Oh, she on one today. She ain't messing around.
I mean, listen, I committed to doing post-game shows in the morning, and this morning when I got the news about Donovan Mitchell, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a long season.
Nah, why you do the show? Just because of that?
It's gonna be a long. It's gonna be right, Sam. 2 of the players Cleveland traded didn't even play last season.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So if it wasn't for remember they were like anywhere from 4 to 6. I want to say, was it 5 and 6 before they got hurt? Before Rubio went down, before Jared Allen.
I thought they were 4. I think they were 4. They were up there.
They were up there.
They were up there. Cleveland.
I think they were 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody said, Staf, that I'm about to switch teams. No, I'm still rocking with the Knicks, but I'm,
Don't do my girl like that, Craig.
Yeah, I'm still rocking with the Knicks, but I'm just saying. Wow. Any other thoughts on Barrett and his contract? No.
That's my thought.
So it doesn't kick into next year. We all know heard about the poison pill situation. So I think that just means that teams are really not going to take him on unless for some reason next season he balls out and then someone else becomes available. And then they probably will be willing to take on RJ Barrett because they see an upside. That could be the only reason I see the Knicks potentially move him. But I think it's almost certain that RJ Barrett's not going anywhere. He's going to be here for the next couple of years at least, 2 to 3 years at least, based on his contract. So,
couple is a little strong, but I think he'll be here this year. Any thoughts on Cam supposedly requesting a trade, or the Lakers' interest in him? And shout out to Sam, who listen, he may not have requested a trade, but reports that he would rather be elsewhere where he would get more of a chance. I guess I'm not saying any of this is true, but I feel like if you're as talented as Cam, I'm coming into camp and you're going to have to play me.
Right.
That's the attitude Grimes had when he got drafted to the Knicks. Everybody was telling him, "You going to the Knicks? You ain't going. Tibbs don't play young people. Whatever." He was like, "Well, I got to treat practice like a game." Obviously somebody had to get hurt for him to get his opportunity, but he got it. So I don't know. I'm questioning Cam's mentality. I'm just like, I'm coming into camp, I'm balling now. He's not gonna have they're gonna have to move Fournier that day. But any thoughts on that? And does that give you pause or any thoughts or concerns about his mentality, or not really?
I guess like 2 things for me. 2 things could be true at the same time. I think, he probably did say that. I know he didn't want it to make it, public or anything like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if he said that, just because of the RJ situation and the minutes we was talking about he's already getting. And plus, when it comes to the mentality, me personally, I don't like it. Hate to say it, I like Cam, but I don't like that mentality. Asking out 2 teams in as many years, it's a little weird for me, especially at that age. Like, nobody's going to give you minutes or give you a spot on the team, no matter where you go. So, I didn't like that part.
Right. If it is true.
If it's true, yeah.
If it's, if it is true. Because I feel like he can beat out, he's talented enough to beat out pretty much anybody, any of the wing players.
Definitely on this team, yeah.
I've been like this whole thing. I've been frustrated all day about this whole thing, and I don't know why, because I really don't care too much. But when I see people say that Mark Berman manufactured this report, it just hit me, like it just ticked me off, because one of 3 things can truly be true about this whole situation. Mm-hmm. 1, Cam Reddish is playing semantics. Essentially, okay, I didn't formally request a trade because that's what was in the thing that, they posted him happy birthday, and then someone said, Cam just requested a trade, and he put Cap, who said I requested a trade?
Yeah.
No, if you ain't requested a trade, you requested to be elsewhere. So to me, that's semantics. Okay, you didn't request a trade, but you don't want to be here. So that's number one. That can be true. The second thing is Berman can be lying. He can completely be manufacturing a news article, right? And then he can be in the wrong. And the third thing is Berman's source, whoever it is from the Knicks organization, the Knicks organization put out that lie. So one of the three, it can be true. Only thing I know is I'm looking at Cam Reddish and his reputation as everything that we just spoke about, him not being a player that seems to be all in, mentally not all in, talented as ever, but just something about his mental game just doesn't translate with the talent, right? You look at that. You look at the fact that in Atlanta, he formally requested a trade because he didn't like the logjam that was in Atlanta, right? You just look at all of those factors. To me, it's more likely than not that Cam Reddish wants to play for someone else because there's a logjam, and that's cool. I'm not knocking the fact that he wants to do that. Cool. If you feel like you can play somewhere else, go out and play somewhere else. But don't act like, oh, I didn't request a trade formally, so that doesn't mean that, just playing games with it. If you don't want to be here, you don't want to be here. It's okay to say that, but just deal with the consequences afterwards. You're a player that can't really deal with situations in which teams are not catering to you. Just deal with those situations. That's all I got to say about that.
So basically, he didn't ask for a trade, but he would prefer to be elsewhere, and it's pretty much the same thing.
It's semantics at that point because, okay, think about it this way. If he formally requests a trade from the Knicks, that'd be two teams in less than 1 year that he formally requested a trade from, and that with it comes a bad reputation. That's a bad reputation. Look at some of these superstars who request trades. That's not a good look on their career, and no team will want those type of players because they can be like, well, I don't want to play here anymore, so trade me. Right, so I think I'm looking at it from that aspect based on the history of Cam Reddish and the type of reputation that he already has as a player that sometimes can't be all mentally in it. And that's the way I'm looking at it. I don't think this is a fake report by Mark Berman. And I think too often Knicks fans throw out this fake news narrative because they don't agree with the take. So they want to throw out, it's fake news. It's fake news. Kind of, I compared them to Trump supporters earlier, but that's a different story. But yeah.
Do you want to see him on the team, Josh, or would you prefer he's traded elsewhere? Like, do you really believe in his upside and really believe in what he can add to this team?
I do, but I'm looking at what he did last season and the limited amount of minutes that he did get. He really didn't perform that well. I feel like if you're a baller, ultimately at the end of the day, all your skills are gonna show out, and I think you are the only person that can be preventing that from happening. I think ultimately at the end of the day, that the talent is gonna win out. And if you're not mentally there, then you're blocking your own blessing, in my opinion. That's just the way I feel about that.
All right. The bowling chick who's RJ and Cam, the twins.
How do I even go after Josh after he said all of that? All I'm going to say.
I'm sorry. My bad. I'm sorry. I just been grinding my gears about this whole fake news. It's fake news. It's fake news. They made it up. I hate that type of stuff.
You're all good, Josh. Look, all I'm going to say is this. As a Cam supporter, member of the Cam Hive, I am disappointed if this is true. Because I do agree that you have to come into camp, with the mentality that I'm going to ball out and I'm going to win a starting job. Same thing for Denzel Mims on the Jets. It's the same exact thing. And if you're not a star, how dare you ask to be traded twice in 2 years? Come on. Right. I know he believes himself to be a star, and I think he has star capabilities. I think he's got all that in his game. But you can't be intimidated by Evan Fournier.
Right.
It really bothered me. I'm hoping. I don't know if it's true or not. And I think I saw what Sim said earlier. Maybe it was someone that Cam trusts that told Berman that was a source. I hope I got that right, Sim, if that's what you posted. Cam was on damage control today. That is possible. But that said, that's just a bad look for Cam. And I think any team at this point is not going to give us anything compelling for him. We'd be lucky to get a protected first-round pick back at this point. Unless the Lakers.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting a first-round pick.
But that's it. I'm upset. I'm very bothered about this. I hope it's not true. But if it is true, then I guess he's not going to be here.
I mean,
not that he's not going to be here, but I mean, we're gonna get whatever value we can. Play him up to the deadline and then trade him then.
If you don't see a path forward,
that's ridiculous, man. Go ahead.
If you don't see a path forward, if he feels like he's not one of Tibbs' guys,
right? Like I wouldn't be shocked at all.
To say, I don't really see me getting a shot here.
All summer we've been wrecking our brain on Cam's fit going forward in minutes. Yeah. So yeah, it makes perfect sense. If this is true. Like, I don't want him gone, but if he wants to leave, I understand why. I don't like the mentality, but yeah, as soon as RJ signed that contract, this comes out. It makes sense.
Biggest reason for me that I would hold on to Cam for this season is signing trades for next offseason. That's how I'm looking at it. If he balls out, you sign and trade him next offseason. Or plays better than what he did last year.
Right.
Because we can't even trade him at the deadline, right? Because he's up for a contract extension. So if we don't extend him before the season, he's automatically restricted, right? Can you still sign him at the deadline? You can
sign him or trade him.
Trade him, I mean.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Yeah.
You still could.
Pretty sure you can. Yeah.
I guess he would just be expiring at that point.
Yeah, but he's also extension eligible, so I'm not sure what team would take a gamble on that player. So I don't know, but you can definitely trade him.
You can. Cam, seeing how protective they were of Grimes.
Yeah,
I'm not getting no.
Right. Yep. Especially if you're a fan of RJ and Grimes, how do you see Cam playing? Like where? Like some people like all three and think all of them are going to play like 30 minutes a game. It's not happening.
Yeah.
That's why I want Fournier traded. That's it.
Yeah, that'll help a lot of these potential logjam issues. But
yeah.
We'll see what the team does. And that's what I want.
I'm just saying, what?
I know. No shooting. I know, Queen.
No, it's not even no shooting. Beat them out and force the Knicks to trade them. Like, and maybe this is just semantics too, because a lot of what I'm hearing is trade them to open up space for somebody so they can get a chance. It kind of sounds like they're not really ready, but we're going to just clear out the competition so that they can play. Or is it just semantics? Is basically what you're saying is you think the guy is ready, so move the guy that's in front of him.
Yeah, I mean,
I think most people think he's ready.
I'm with Paris style.
You want to burn it all down, Queen.
No, it's not that. I just want you to, in your time, to be so good to be like, you know what? It's time. It's time to trade the person that's in front of them. Like Grimes, as much as I like Grimes, he was one of the most inefficient players in summer league. You know what I mean? So I think that, why I wasn't concerned is because I'm like, you know what? He's not going to be taking all those shots in the regular season. He's going to be playing off of people. It's going to be catch and shoot. He should be much more efficient. Now we're talking about starting him and giving him a bigger role after he shot like 0.4% in the summer league. Like, nah, I don't know if he's ready. I don't know if he's ready for that type of role.
The Knicks clearly do.
You think they see him as a starter though?
I mean, if he was untouchable, then they must.
That's what you would
think.
That's my logic.
You would hope.
Yeah.
You would hope.
Because there's no doubt Tibbs likes him. There's no doubt about that. I just want to,
if he's untouchable, I was just gonna say if he's untouchable, you better view him as a starter. I would hope.
Right.
I mean, he doesn't have to average 20.
Average
13 or 14. I know you're not saying that.
Yeah.
I mean, he can average 13 or 14 and play monster defense, and I think Knicks fans would be satisfied provided Brunson balls out RJ balls out, and if Randall stood here, Randall balls out, and Mitchell takes a step. Robinson, that is.
Right.
Robinson.
Right. Yeah. I think that's definitely more balanced. We do need shooting. So I'm gonna let Rob come in for a few minutes. Rob, a few minutes.
Rob, which Rob you talking about?
What Rob? What is his name now? I see something different here. I think it's Rob the Knick.
Rob the Knick is coming in.
But hold on. He texted me. He said, "Yeah, that's what I'm saying." Rob, let me set it up. So he texted me and he said that this panel is not balanced enough.
Yeah, I know because I spoke to him earlier, so I already know he's about to come in.
But I'm saying the bowling chick is fine. You know, I'm the only one probably upset that we didn't get Donovan Mitchell.
Right. I think we're balanced. We're just not arguing. It's a difference.
We're just not arguing, Rob.
We're just not arguing. It's a difference.
We don't all agree. The bowling chick is happy. Look at her smiling that we coming back the same ragtag team.
Right. I'm kind of in the middle. Steph want to burn it down.
Right. Well, Donovan Mitchell, but for the right price.
Yeah.
Josh made peace with Cleveland's offer that, wasn't much the Knicks can do.
And you ain't trying to hear none of it.
Trying to hear none of it. Right? The Knicks had almost exclusive negotiating period. You had that little period before you can sign.
You were about to say you said that with an explanation point.
When you get to negotiate with free agents before you sign, they had that period. So we're gonna let Rob come on and give his take.
Oh, here we go. I'm telling y'all, it's about the fireworks.
Oh no. He just a few minutes, Rob. Just a few minutes for you to give your take on why the Knicks were okay with not.
Oh yeah, big time. Trust me.
Yeah. Just a few minutes, Rob. All right.
All right.
Hello, sir.
What's up, Queen? What's up, panel?
Changed it. Okay, all right.
See, look, you tried to take all the fire out of me now, but I think you done it. No, but
go ahead.
This is the only thing because Josh already know. I schooled him earlier. That's how come he got up out of here. This is what I'm saying. After they said that RJ, Obi, and the three unprotected, that told me right then and there that they didn't want to have nothing to do with the Knicks. They didn't. And then you want to come back in negotiations. Once you come back, you can't get the same deal. Leon was right to do what he did. You sign, okay, you don't want this guy, we sign him. Okay, now when they say we overvalue the people on our team, I think we overvalue them, and I think the other half of Knick Nation undervalues them. It's a split in the middle on both ends. They undervalued, they overvalued. Okay, there's a medium in the middle. So what I'm saying, like those players that we have right now today that's on its team, we don't know right now which way we're going to go. So that's why it wasn't a good idea to get Donovan. Because if you're just going to give me 5 more wins and then I'm going to have to figure it out again, move players around, trade people just to match you, and I see you, and the way I see Donovan is losing athleticism. He showed that last year. He showed a little injury prone. It's things that he showed me that related me, that I started to see earlier in D Rose before he got hurt. Not wishing anything on Donovan. I'm not doing that. But I started to see.
Oh, go ahead.
I started to see little cracks in his armor, just like I was telling Uncle Fulio earlier. He wasn't the only player that I seen that in. I seen the same thing in Kevin Durant last year. Little chinks in the armor that can, in the long range, can turn the franchise around. And I wasn't willing to take a chance on that small backcourt because, like the numbers say, in 35 years, a small backcourt has never won a championship since Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars in the hand-checking era. So I don't see no difference between Brunson and Mitchell. It would have been a bad trade. We had Stevie Francis and Marbury. We tried that before.
That is not the same, Rob. Come on,
I'm talking about small guards. I'm just talking about the small guards.
Listen, just because it hasn't happened doesn't mean it can't happen, right? I will say that just because it hasn't happened, it doesn't mean it can't happen. And I will tell you, a chink out of Donovan Mitchell is better than anybody we got on this team.
Julius Randle is our best player. Where's that getting us?
Okay.
Mitchell would have been the best player if we would have got him.
So it has more to do with fit than anything. You can be the best player, but if you don't fit, they move you.
But listen to me. If you're the best player, it ain't about who you fit with. They got to fit with you. How many times have you traded for a player in a season or two? Only one or two players are on that roster because they turned over the entire roster. If you bring in the best player, it's not about who he fits with on the roster. Who on the roster fits with him, and those who don't, you move them because he's.
But you already got the piece. If they would have got Mitchell before Brunson, you wouldn't be hearing anything from me right now.
They already got what piece?
If they would have got Mitchell before Brunson, you probably wouldn't be hearing anything out of me.
Your whole issue is not the chink in his armor and the chink in this and that. Your whole issue is
the size, the backcourt, the size of the back.
I say not only that, would he look, Utah was a better team than us, than any Knicks team that we're adding Donovan to. He was the best player on that team. And when he was what changed me about Donovan is when Leonard got hurt and they was up 2-0, he couldn't close. They lost the series.
But who on the Knicks is closing?
But that's what I'm saying. We don't need that closer. We're 2 years into the rebuild, just 2 years, and we had our first opportunity that everybody just want to dive to. Leon Rose been there for 2 years.
We are 10 years into the rebuild.
No. See, Queen, that's what I want. That's why I'm not going to go with you, because we're going to start with this regime right here. Now, we can always go back 20 years and blame everything.
Right.
So we're going to start with Leon. Now, Leon in two years took this team to this level where as though no free agents was looking at us.
Well, hold up. What level is the Knicks? What level?
No, right now. No, the level is this, that we got assets and we got draft picks and we're moving in the right direction. That level.
Okay. So, all right. Okay. So what are we doing with the assets in the draft act? Because they were built for this moment. This is why they got the assets for this moment and they didn't want to give them up. So what's this?
Look, they tried to give them up. Look what they offered. He said no.
Okay.
Look what he offered. You had Obi. You had RJ. You had Quickly. You had 3 unprotecteds, and you said no. Then you come back to the table with me? No, you don't get it then. That's negotiation 101. The deal don't get sweeter.
No. Well,
that deal doesn't get sweeter. And then besides that, you didn't have anybody on the table when you came back. And then when you got with Cleveland, you didn't even ask us, did we want to double it? What do we want to do? You went right ahead and done it. You didn't even give the Knicks a second offer.
I'm pretty sure they was tired of dealing with the Knicks at that point.
Look, read the article. We gave you
like 3 or 4 or 5 different articles.
But look, you basically took the same deal that we offered you the first time in July. You took that deal. So how is it the Knicks' fault that Mitch is and you know me? I'm glad it didn't happen. But you offered the same thing.
Because
you offered the same.
But Rob,
marketing is not better. Marketing is not better than Mitch.
It's not about the players, Rob. It's never been about the players.
We gave them 3 unprotecteds.
No,
we offered that.
Hold on. That was at first. They thought they can get more. That's the reason why they didn't take it. They just came off the Gobert trade and everything like that. So
but they didn't.
But that's what I'm saying. They assessed the market. They couldn't get more than that, and that's the reason why they took what they got. It was the Cleveland had the better deal.
The Knicks only giving 2.
Now they give. They
offered 3. They offered 3.
Rob, at first they offered 3.
In July. And look, the article just dropped tonight.
Rob, what I'm trying to say is they offered that in July, but in July, they were still in this Rudy Gobert haze and thought they can get more. Right. That's why they didn't accept it then. After the Kevin Durant decided he was going back to Brooklyn, the market reset. They knew that they were not going to get all that they were asking for in July. They knew that. Right. So now, since then, the Knicks were offering RJ and 2 unprotected. Cleveland was, from what I understand, was offering 3 unprotected after the market reset, and they realized you're not getting all what you were asking for before. At that point, from what I'm understanding, Cleveland had the better deal, and they didn't even come back, from what I understand, to New York to see if they can beat it.
Well, look. So farewell, Mitchell. Have a good career. We tried. See you when you're a free agent. We don't have to kiss his butt right now for nothing. It's
not about kissing butt. It's about the Knicks becoming a better team. You really want to watch this or another season, another 37, 38, 40 win play-in team?
Look, Queen, like I told you before, if D Rose was healthy, if we had a healthy D Rose last year, I feel as though the Knicks would have won 45 games. Now we got a better, more durable point guard now, and I see the Knicks resetting back to the year before, not last year. I see the Knicks better.
Whoa! But the Eastern Conference is better too.
Hey, look, but like I told you about Cleveland, no one time is that you there and you set it up. Look what happened to us. We was there one year, and the next year we wasn't.
Right, but they added Donovan Mitchell this time, though.
Cleveland had 3. They got 3 All-Stars in that starting lineup, bro.
Nobody knows how Mobley gonna play in the second year. That remains to be seen. We got less of an issue now because Donovan Mitchell. It's less of an issue. But look, in the second half of his season, he started going downhill anyway before he got hurt.
All right.
So these are things that they gonna have to watch out for. Nobody look. The top 4 teams. I say the top 5 teams or 6 teams in the East are primarily there all for the last 5 years. Everything else is up for grabs.
Yeah,
even though they may look better on paper. Okay, because I think like this here, the Knicks is going to have these young players got more years up under their belt now. They're going to play better. They got more chemistry, and they got something to prove. And then there's no more question marks after this year. You know exactly who you got and who you're going to trade and who fits and who doesn't. This was the most important year for the Knicks right here. You got everybody.
So time out. So hold on. You said wait another year so they can find out. They already was trying to trade them. You just seen it.
Well,
they know what they got.
Okay. Look, they tried to trade them for Donovan Mitchell. Okay, you can't be mad at that if you're a Knicks fan. They wasn't trying to trade them for Bozo the Clown.
I know that. No, but I'm saying you said let's see what they got and everything like that. They knew what they got. That's why they put RJ and all them on the table.
All right,
they knew that.
But that's right. Donovan Mitchell. It's not Bozo the Clown.
But the point is,
so we can
hold up. Let me just say this. Was OKC trying to trade Chet and Giddey for Donovan Mitchell? Was
because they're doing something. Their rebuild is different than a New York rebuild. The Knicks couldn't do that in New York City, what they're doing out there without the newspapers and the national media. The Knicks have to do it in disguise. You have to do it while still playing competitive basketball. In a college town like OKC, they can do anything they want. Nobody's going to say anything.
The point I'm trying to make is you're saying that they're putting them in a trade because it's Donovan Mitchell. Like they're very valuable, but because it's Donovan Mitchell, they're going to put him in a trade.
Well, look, and
these teams ain't putting their players in trades because they know those players have a higher upside than the Knicks players do.
Look, how many players we seen with higher upside? Look at the second pick that got picked with he's not even in the league no more.
there's always outliers, but you can't.
No, that's not. I can tell you about 5 more.
Okay, so you're gonna look at Detroit and OKC and tell me that our young core is just as good.
We don't know yet because Detroit hasn't proven anything.
Neither have we.
We proved we won more games than Detroit.
But it wasn't because of IQ and Obi and Grimes. It was because
it wasn't because of who?
It wasn't because of them.
What? Look, the second unit dug the first unit out of a mad games.
But Rob, digging somebody out of a hole and being the main player on the team is 2 separate things.
Yes, it is. And I agree 100%. But you got to also take into account that our young players all year long, since they've been there, always showed promise and got better every year.
Okay.
So when you compare them to Detroit, just because they was a higher pick, don't you know that Milwaukee won the championship with 1 lottery pick that didn't even start?
Rob, do you really think in your heart of hearts IQ, Obi, and Grimes are all-star type players? Are you putting your money on that?
I would put my out of the 3, if you ask me which one I think is an all-star, my own personal with a different coach, because I blame Tibbs on a lot of things.
Okay, fine.
As far as
who would you put your money on?
I would put my money on Obi.
Wow. Okay.
I would put my money on Obi. If you and I'm saying, and is he better than Randall right now? No, I'm not even saying that. But his ceiling is where I can say that I think that he would be an all-star one day.
Okay, I hear you.
I do. And the rest of the pieces right now, even though when you look at these pieces, you don't have to look at them all as though they're going to be Knicks. But the more value you put on them, the more better. If you have to move them in the trade, they show value.
Yeah, but it works both ways, though. Sometimes just what they can be, you can get more value for them. The more they play in the league, the more you really get to see who they are. And once they start leveling out, their value can decline. So
the only one that I see with that problem that I can see that can pretty much go either way is like he'll be a solid player either way. But the one that I see that much, I have to say, is RJ. You don't know what RJ can be to the ceiling, and RJ can be middle of the road, and he works hard. But the other ones that you see, you can see growth in their game. But it's all about shooting. If you can't put that ball in the hoop in the NBA, it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a problem. No matter all the other intangibles that you may have, at the end of the day, you have to be able to put that ball in the basket efficiently. But his contract reflects what type of player he is right now. So I'm not mad.
I'm not mad either, and I would be shocked if Obi got a contract like that. You think?
Well,
Obi's
I think that
has a higher skill than RJ.
I think if Obi got a contract like that, Randall will have to be gone, and Obi will be able to show his value. Because I think if he was to be able to be like even on another team, I don't think Tibbs is a good evaluator of talent. I always said that.
I hear
Tibbs is not a great evaluator of talent.
I agree with that, Rob. I agree with that part, Rob. I agree with that part.
Because he's stuck in his ways. And if you have to make a comment at the end of the season talking about, oh, I should have played these people more, and the whole Knick Nation is saying the same thing during the season, you're stuck in your ways. You lied and you got the job. Because you said you learned things, and obviously you didn't. So a big part of New York's Knicks basketball last year, you can blame Coach Tibbs. Because
I would blame him for some of it.
But there's some blame.
There's a lot of blame to go around. But anyway, we appreciate you dropping by, Rob.
Okay. All right. I'll be in the chat. I'll be in the chat. All right.
Salute to Rob, man.
Peace, panel.
All right.
That's my
There
guy.
go Rob, who said that we weren't being there was nobody defending the Knicks. So he wanted to come on and defend the Knicks.
I didn't say much because I didn't want to make it seem like we was all jumping them. And plus, anybody that come in here laying down, they trying to get their bars off. Rob was like,
he always comes in here.
I know Rob cool, man.
Rob
Salute to Rob, man.
Every time he come in, he chilling.
Yep. Rob is chilling, man.
Anyway,
he made some solid points though. I mean, we do gotta be a little bit patient with this. But I'm with Queen. I'm more on the side of Queen. I think we should have struck because that's the time to do it. But I guess we'll see and we'll find out. Only time will tell at this point.
Right? Do you think they have a plan B?
I mean, yeah, they don't have no other choice. Their plan B is to roll with what they got and use the draft picks and all that. They don't have a choice.
No, I thought they had another plan B. Like, all right, we didn't get Mitchell. We're gonna go for
No. I don't think that's. I think they was all in on Donovan Mitchell and Brunson. They got Brunson, but they didn't get Donovan Mitchell, so they're just gonna kind of roll with what they got. And hopefully they can either move Randall or move Fournier. I think more. I would say more likely than not that one of those guys are going to be off the team coming up. If I had to guess, take a guess.
Well, it should move quickly. We got about a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
a month.
Yeah.
Before. The training camps. Actually, our first preseason is October 4th, so I would think the end of this month.
I believe it's the end of this month. And then we play Cleveland October 30th. I looked that up. In Cleveland. That'll be a fun game. It's
going to be a Halloween massacre.
I'm glad we're not playing at the Garden. That's nice.
Right.
At least the first time we can kind of ease in there and roll out.
Any last words? Greg want to know what are we doing with the last two roster spots? I don't know. We don't need Carmelo now. Right? I don't really see a need for Carmelo Anthony at this
point. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Now we probably won't get Melo. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, what's the
incentive?
Unless we traded Randall.
And then he could play behind Obi.
Yeah.
No, that wouldn't be good for him though. So at the end of the day, I mean, go to Golden State and get your ring, boy. That's would be my response to Melo at this point.
If Spider was never, how would the fan base be feeling about this team?
Yes, I guess maybe that's why I'm not too, I'm disappointed, but I'm not upset. Like I'm not angry. Because we thought about and had contingency plans of him not being on this team like all summer. Like we've been talking about like ceilings and floors if he wasn't on the team or if he was on the team.
Yeah.
So I wasn't one of those people like I wanted him bad, but don't get me wrong. I didn't think he was definitely going to be on the team and moving forward. I didn't think otherwise. So yeah, I'm disappointed, but I'm the type of person I'm going to move forward. Like I'm still a Knicks fan. Like we got to get ready to rock and roll with the young guys.
Every offseason there's this collective anxiety amongst the fan base. It's like collective every single offseason. Last season we got Kemba. Everyone was all rah, rah, rah. You know what I'm saying? And look what happened with that. But every offseason to me is the same. I feel like when the Knicks don't do anything, that's when they kind of shock and win more games than what they're supposed to. And when they do something, they kind of underachieve. But regardless, there's always this anxiety amongst the fan base waiting for the season to start. And as it gets closer and closer, people's feelings about the team become greater and greater until tip off game one. And then,
Oh boy!
If Melo played more minutes than Obi, man, we got a problem.
That defense would be awful. I don't want him starting at the 4.
Yeah, I mean,
everyone that plays the Lakers.
Hold on, you acting like Obi is that much better of a defender than Melo?
I think he's a little bit better than that. Last year he was awful. I watched a lot of Lakers games.
No, he's improved.
I'm not saying y'all didn't, but
you talking about Carmelo?
See, look, you didn't even know who she was talking about. Why?
Oh, yeah.
You didn't even know who she was talking about because that statement could have went with either player. That's why.
Right. Obi has improved defensively, though. I would give him credit.
He has a little bit. He has.
You ain't see Melo dragging his leg behind him. And I'm a Melo fan, like a huge fan. But nah, last year, I mean, everybody was roasting Melo. Everybody. They were seeking my guy out.
I mean, he's an older player now,
He's 36 years old.
The effort was mostly there.
and he still averaged 14 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
He was playing
Melo
pretty
always-
well offensively in the first half of the season. I just think the injuries caught up to him in the second half.
Yeah.
Just the way Melo game is, he could be 60 years old and still get a bucket. There's everything else that he's not going to do.
He'll still rebound for you.
Yep.
And that's
Yeah,
about it.
You're right.
Any last words? Anything we didn't cover?
Nah, man. I just know after 11 o'clock, the chat usually get crazy, so we better get out of here.
Right.
Let me put the chat back on so I can see.
Chat get crazy when it get late.
You're right.
Always a pleasure, Queen. Thank you for inviting me. Always a pleasure.
Of course.
Yeah, man. We got to do Thursdays more often. I like Thursdays too. Thursdays is cool.
Yeah, that's true. Because then Friday, even if you have to work, it's just one more day you got to get through.
Yeah, I know, right?
Right.
Instead of Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Right.
My last words are "Go Knicks, go." I'm proud.
I don't know what
RJ,
I'm
my
getting.
baby got the bag. Amen. The little bag, like you said. I think we'll still make the play in. And I think we'll be more competitive than everybody is thinking today. I think we're all just reeling from the news that we didn't get the guy that we all expected to get. I think we'll rebound. We'll see. Keep y'all's heads up. Okay? That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I think no matter what. Thank you, Greg. Vacation was good. I was trying to get some pictures up, but maybe next time. Vacation was nice and relaxing, and I kind of can you imagine if I wasn't on vacation and I came back to this news? I mean, and I was here all pent up, and got this news.
Maybe it would have been better if it was the week after, because then you could kind of go there and relax.
Right.
After.
Right.
You was too mad to show us pictures and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's time to move on. I'm rocking with the Knicks, no matter what. I'll be over it by tomorrow, and and ready to move on in terms of what's next. I still think the Knicks are going to make some minor moves and tweaks to this roster before training camp, like we were talking about, to open up. I hate that. I'm sure the Knicks believe, even in Grimes, enough to move Fournier to give him that opportunity to start. So that means Barrett will be at the 3, it looks like. So here we are. I appreciate you guys rocking with us. We'll be back at our regular time Tuesday, 9 p.m. If we do decide to move till Thursday permanently, we will let you guys know. Monday, Queen's Court, we'll be going over the Knicks roster we'll do that probably until the start of the season, comparing the Knicks roster to various rosters in the Eastern Conference. So we'll do that Monday on the Queen's Court. Then I'll be back hopefully with Tony Crowe Wednesday for the crossover. I don't think I've done that in like 2 or 3 weeks. I haven't done Queen's Court in about 2 weeks. So I'm refreshed and I'm ready for whatever this season is gonna be. I appreciate you guys.